Is this the part 2 to the Critical Role cosplay that we have all been waiting for? No, it's not. But it is one that I've been really wanting to update for a super long time, and I mean long. This video has literally been years in the making. In September of 2022, I made a Fearne Calloway cosplay, which I think was my very first cosplay on this channel, and for a really long time, one of my most popular videos as well. And from the moment I finished that video, I have been wanting to try again. There's a lot that I wish had gone differently. And I actually have been very slowly working on this, and with the Ren Fair rolling around once again, I am finally ready to share with you everything that has transpired. So if we can all take a trip down memory lane, one of the very first problems that I had with the original costume was the horns. On the first day that I wore the costume to the Ren Fair, the horns just completely detached, which was a bummer. So when it came to take 2, Electric Boogaloo, I decided time to completely redo the headpiece, starting with 3D printed horns. I purchased an STL for Fearne's horns from an Etsy seller named Miss Messy Mia, and bing bong, they came out perfectly. All they needed was a little bit of paint, some dry brushing, and they were pretty much set. After printing and painting them, I also decided to attach little dangly gold chains and charms because it just seems right. And also these charms are actually from the decor that was in my actual wedding, so it's a nice little touch just for me. This time I did not directly attach the horns to a sort of headpiece, headband, floral situation. I have learned something from working on Jester Lavore, and that is that magnets are the greatest thing on earth. So I typically use this really terrible magnet band that I made very last minute for my Jester Lavore cosplay. It has gotten used so much, it is so stretched out. So to remedy that, I got a thicker actual headband instead of using the stretchy fabric so that it actually maintains its shape as I use it. The headband was actually not wide enough to fit all 3 of the magnets, so I glued 2 together and sort of put a ribbon over it. It has not withstood the test of a day at the Ren Fair, but I'm feeling pretty good about it. I also added some magnets on the side as well so I can attach the little ears. I did want to remake the ears entirely because I feel like I could do a better job than I did, but I did not have time this year, so it is what it is. These are pretty cute anyways. Yes, I do have to address that there are a lot of continuity issues. This video, again, was filmed over quite a bit of time and space, so the video has footage from my old house and footage from my new house and also a couple of other fun places. So please bear with me. Another thing that went quite wrong in my last video was that I was not able to successfully make horse hoof shoes. Well, this year I did not make hoof shoes either because I still worry that even if I did make them correctly, I would not be able to wear them comfortably. But I did think of a way to cheat. I have these very, very trusty chunky heel boots. I love these shoes. I wear them everywhere. I've done 8-hour work days in them. I've done conventions. I've done Ren Fairs. I was scrolling around on ye old Pinterest and I saw these Victorian boot covers and I thought, wow, why not make these but in fur so that only the toe of the boot sticks out so it kind of looks like a hoof. So I did that by pulling out some of my scraps of faux fur, approximately measuring around the boot, and then sewing 2 pieces together so that it had these weird flappy spaces. You can see it in the video. I don't know how to describe this shape. So for the part that goes around the back of the ankle, I made like a mini corset back, added a bunch of little grommets, and cut out some ribbon, which I think is super cute. And then for underneath the arch of the heel so that I have an easier time taking it on and off, I put a little bit of elastic that I just hand sewed together really, really badly, but I don't care. It's very secure. But yeah, 10 out of 10 strategy. And the bonus part is that I get to wear literally my favorite, most comfortable shoes that I own. So something that also ended up being difficult about the previous previous iteration of this costume was the sleeves. The original sleeves I made were stolen from a cleric jester costume pattern, and I quickly realized there were many a problem with them. First off, I made them just a wee bit too big. They were supposed to have, you know, a cool corset ribbon pattern, and they're kind of just a bunch of scrunch. Secondly, no matter how much I decide to restrict the blood flow in my arms at the start of the day by tying these things as tight as I possibly can, I just end up holding my arms up with my hands in front of me because the sleeves will just slide down to my elbows, and if I'm not holding my forearms up, they will slide off. So my alternative solution is a big drapey organza sleeve that has ribbons to tie around the existing shoulder straps of the dress, over my elbow, and around my wrist. I did not follow a pattern or anything for this. I just kind of winged it, cutting a square that was a little bit longer than the length of my arm, gathering the opposite ends, and then attaching a ribbon to the gathered edges and the approximate center, and ta-da! The big drape sleeve that we all love, that I especially love in both clothing and art. I was never planning to remake the entire outfit. I really like the dress, but I did want to make it just a little bit more ferny, Feywildy, and overgrown. And I thought, what could possibly be more Feywild than having moss grow on your clothing? So little by little, I have slowly been adding hand embroidered moss knots onto the hem of this dress. And as far as it was possible, I took this dress everywhere that I went. I worked on it in a lot of spare downtime that I had for as long as my hands or my brain could stand. As long as this process did take me, I didn't actually make it all the way around the dress. For one, it's a circle skirt. That's a lot of fabric, babes. We're not doing that. Whenever I didn't have enough energy to work on anything else, but I still wanted to pretend I was being productive, this is what I worked on. It allowed me to sit and watch YouTube videos and TV shows and podcasts, and I'm still not caught up with Critical Role, but boy howdy am I fully reinvested in K-dramas. If anyone has any recommendations, please feel free to let me know, because I finished both The Glory and Juvenile Justice, and I fear I will never be able to experience the thrill and satisfaction that those shows provided me ever again. I did not purchase thread consistently from the same source. A lot of the thread was just stuff that I had picked up over the years that I just had on hand, and it definitely shows. On the side of the dress where I started, there are a lot of warm yellow foresty greens, and as you kind of progress throughout the dress, there are more vibrant jungle greens in some spots, some more blue greens in some spots. When I realized that it wasn't super cohesive from moss patch to moss patch, I tried to make an effort to work more randomly throughout the dress so that the color variation was a little bit more spread out. And then when I finally felt like I had done enough embroidery work, I went bonkers with adding a bunch of little green glass beads into the moss beds that I had created. Not only did it help mix things up texturally, and I notoriously love a good texture, I think it really helped to bring together the weird patches of different colors of green that I had. I also made these, and I only made 5 of them because they were sort of tedious to make, but I wrapped blue thread around little wooden beads to make tiny little blueberries to hide in the various moss patches as well. I'm stoked about this new addition of color. I hesitated a lot before starting these little blueberries. I thought the blues that I had were just way too bright, but my partner said, no, it's costume colors, TV colors, you're gonna want it to be brighter than it actually is. And he was absolutely right. It is visually such a treat to look at. It's a beautiful addition. And the very, very last detail, which I'm most excited about, is as many of the reasonably sized or attachable trinkets that I've received from the Ren Fair, I've sewn onto the dress, because Fearne is so notorious for pocketing little things that aren't hers. So I thought it would be perfect to hide in the moss little gems and stones and potion bottles that I have been gifted at the Ren Fair. And I was so excited to add more this year, but in a super unlucky turn of events, trinket trading got banned this year at the Renaissance Fair that I go to. I'm not positive why. I don't want to start rumors. I think it had to do with a child receiving something either inappropriate or a choking hazard. Not ideal, and I'm all for trying to advocate for safe trinket trading, but fingers crossed that they come up with a good solution, because I really enjoyed trinket trading. That being said, the trinkets that I do have currently are really quite good, and I think they add a whole lot as is. And so now for the most dramatic change, I think, and my personal favorite addition to this project, I'm adding an overdress. At the time of making this video, Fearne has, I think, 4 different official art pieces, but even since her first drawing, she's always had some sort of corset situation going on, and it's something that I've always had missing from the overall outfit that I made for her. On top of that, I have been a little bit over the cape that I made in 2022, but I still needed something to cover the atrocious job that I did installing the zipper in the back of this dress. I did try to make a stays for the outfit, but number 1, I ended up rushing it, number 2, I ended up hating it, and number 3, I accidentally got brown paint all over it anyways, so I needed a plan B. Enter stage right, my favorite thing that I've ever made in the history of me sewing things, Jester Lavor's overdress from my Pirate Jester video. I have worn this overdress both in and out of cosplay. I love it so stinking much, and the thought of having another one sparks so much joy. The even cooler part of this is that I was able to make it entirely out of the remnant pieces from the original costume or fabric that I already had. So the outer pink layer was cut from the material that I bought for the cape and from the cape itself. Everybody say goodbye to the cape. The structural layer was from the last bit of interfacing that I had, and the inside lining layer was the last of the green fabric left from the original yardage that I got for the dress itself. And if you watch my Pirate Jester part 1, you have seen me make and assemble this pattern before. It is 3 of each of 8 different pattern pieces for the lining layer, structure layer, and outer layer. That is a lot of overlocking, even if I didn't serge the layer of interfacing. So I put my corset boning on the structure layer, then I sewed the structural layer to the outside layer, making fake boning channels because I don't like making real boning channels because it's tedious and it makes me sad. And then I sewed the respective outer pieces together and lining pieces together. Last time I was a little bit shy with my seam allowances, so the whole thing ended up being quite a bit larger than it was supposed to be. And I always am nervous about seam allowances because after literally years of clothing companies lying to me about clothing measurements, how can I not be? But this time I made sure to do the pattern recommended seam allowances for this overdress, since my goal as of late has been to not buy anything new and to use up what I have. I did not buy any cute tassel trim, even though that is probably one of my favorite parts of the Jester overdress. I did, however, have a bunch of green organza from a different project that I cut into long strips with the intention to pleat it into cute little ruffles. I waffled a lot between potential hemming strategies, and I was feeling particularly lazy, and I hoped that I could use my very fun goth candle to melt the edges cleanly so that they would not fray. Unfortunately, the unsteady hands strike once again, and turns out I could not consistently melt the edges in a nice and straight way. So instead, I decided, what's a little length, and folded my strips in half, ironed them flat, and sewed them together so I can go yet another day of my life without sewing a proper hem into sheer fabric. After that whole debacle, I did some math to figure out how many pleats I could make out of my strips of organza to go along the edge of my overdress, and I began folding and pinning and folding and pinning and folding and pinning some more. Also, despite my math, I still got it wrong. One of my organza strips were too short and the other one was too long. You know what, my best guess is that my folds were not consistent, but who cares? I figured it out in the end and it still looks fine. And now for what is simultaneously the best part and most tedious part of this project, I found an excuse to work with the material of my dreams. I bought some actual, real, ethically sourced, of course, jewel beetle wings. They have such an insane color shift. I have wanted to use these ever since learning about their significance in the theater world, in the fashion world, just in history in general. You can purchase beetle wings pre-drilled with holes, and I did, but instead of using the pre-drilled holes, I ended up doing this fancy crisscross situation. And I do think there's a step 2 to the traditional beetle wing beading process. I did not do that. I did not search for step 2, and instead I said, wow, this crisscross looks cool. I'm going to use a little bit of rubber cement glue to make sure that no beetle wing escapage was going to happen. I also ended up not using gold thread like I thought I was going to, and I used a dark blue because I felt like the gold just took away from the beetle wings as a whole, and the blue sort of blended in with the color shift. I also do think you're supposed to trim down beetle wings before working with them, but I really like them as they are. I think the differing shapes and sizes add a lot to the vibe, and the natural shape is so nice. It's so neat. Also, after working with these for a while, I realized that instead of paying a lot of money for ethically sourced beetle wings, I could have actually just gotten and painted some fake nails and put like chrome mirror powder on them, and that probably would have looked just as good. So, you know, if anyone's not trying to buy beetle wings, there is an option. But hey, at least now I get to say I got to work with actual beetle wings. Younger me would be thrilled to know that I got to do this. Honestly, current me is absolutely over the moon anyways. But with that, it is time to get ready with me to be Fearne Calloway.
How does one? Is it like from here to? Sorry, I've never done a wig install before. Do I like this? What do I think? Nobody flame me for my terrible wig install because I've never done this before. Is it like that? This one seems so secure. This one seems doesn't. I think this one seems doesn't. Brother, EO. Hello? Tatush, how goes it? I'm so sorry. I do appreciate it. It probably helps. Yeah. Turkey leg. I wanted this to be a nice montage, but everything is... Okay, well, you know what? It's not like I can do makeup anyways. Having a vision is not gonna make a difference. It's all green. Lashes. Somewhere. I will find them. I'm having a bad day. I would put these in normally, but I don't want to. Things are not going my way. I haven't put out a video in 2 weeks. This reveal was supposed to be very cute and fun, and it's just... I'm not putting those contacts in, but I might, on a day where I feel better. What is that today? I did it. I have become one with the letter. I did it. Who doubted me? Whoever doubted me and my ability? They're not even. Whoever doubted me? I have to lace my own dang corset up. Who invented this game? Now I actually have to thread it. Oh no, it covers my moss. I hate it here. Lined up. Let's go. I'm a pink pony girl, and I dance at the club. I didn't think this through. Believe it. Costuming and cosplay. It's so easy. It's not. Life is pain. But that's pretty cute. Is this everything? No, I need shoes. And then I have a hoof. Graceful. Cute, but I'm just like ta-da! Here she is. I apologize that you didn't get a nice review like last time. I am just not in an area where I'm comfortable filming outside, even though it's beautiful. Someday I will be. Someday I'll be less afraid of being perceived. But today is not that day, and I'm deeply sorry about it. I apologize so much that my videos have been whack, coming out at crazy schedules. But I finally got a cosplay video in. Yeah, but I wanted the beetle wings to go all the way around the hem of this overdress. They don't, because I got tired. Maybe I'll go back in and do it someday, but not soon. Also, the ruffles came out uneven on the back. One side they're a little bit longer than the other. One of the beetle wings came out. Okay, I'll fix that. Here, the this thing got caught on the inside. Unfortunately, I was trimming like the excess on the inside before I turned it inside out, because that's what you do, so you have a nice inside out. And I'm afraid that if I undo it and redo it, I will have cut into the pleat and it will be sad. So I'm not going to undo it because I don't want to know. Schrodinger's pleat. Is it cut? Is it not? We'll never know, because I'll never open the box. Ever. Overall, I'm very, very happy with the outfit. I think it's very, very cute. I love the new wig. It's so much more full. It's so much more comfortable. It looks better. The horns stay on. What more could I ask for? I haven't worn or tested this outside or at the Ren Fair yet. I plan to do that 2 days after this video comes out. But I'm pretty excited for its debut. I feel infinitely more like Fearne in this outfit than I did in the last outfit, even though it's technically the same outfit, just zhuzhed up a little and with a better wig. But sometimes it's just a better wig. But yeah, hope everything holds up to the test that is going to be this weekend. But who knows? Not me.